This is Gene Montrastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 516, originally aired August 18th, 2021. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you get a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Today, we are going to be talking about the idea of somatic literacy, which I'm guessing is not a phrase that you've heard before, but it's a concept you're probably aware of. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that means and how we can use that particular idea to get more out of our tapping and our transformational process, even if we are not using tapping. Before we do that, two quick announcements. Number one, we have a free 10-part guide on how you can use tapping to eliminate self-sabotage. All you need to do is go to tappingqa.com, click on that big blue button, enter your email address, and every single day for the next 10 days, we will send you another small thing that you can do to help you to eliminate self-sabotage as you are navigating your day. And at the end of 10 days, you can pick the one or two of them that work the best for you so you can use them over and over again. Second, I'd like to send a big shout out and thank you to all of the amazing supporters of the Tapping Q&A podcast. A special shout out to Cheryl. Cheryl is the most recent supporter of the Tapping Q&A podcast. For her support, she's getting a bunch of special bonus gifts. If you would like to support the show so that other people can continue to enjoy it and receive some amazing bonuses, all you need to do is go to tappingqa.com/support. That's tappingqa.com/support. And once again, thank you to all of the amazing supporters of the Tapping Q&A podcast. A number of years ago, I was back home in Wyoming, and I was having a conversation with my niece, who is just this brilliant, amazing, fierce creature. And she must have been 6 or 7 at the time, and she was really physically agitated by something. And I asked her, "What's going on?" And she said, "My feet are so angry," which was just beautiful and poetic. Oftentimes when I'm doing transformational work and I'm teaching people how we do internal parts work, I love talking about fairy tale physics and how we can use the playful sense and the creative sense of the subconscious mind to do some really powerful transformation. And that's exactly where Milan was in that moment. She was talking about the experience that her body was having in such vivid language in just a short little phrase. It made it possible for us to have a conversation about what was going on in a slightly different way. And so when we are talking about somatic literacy, take those words, somatic of the body, literacy, to understand, to be able to comprehend. Somatic literacy is our ability to understand, to read the information that is coming from our physical body. Because that's what is going on in our body. All the physical sensations we feel, they are information. You know, when I feel pressure on my right shoulder, I know I'm leaning up against someone or someone is trying to get my attention. If I feel pain, my body is telling me there is an injury. If my stomach is rumbling, my system is telling me that I'm hungry. My body feels heavy, it's telling me that I should probably rest. I get butterflies in my stomach, I am nervous. All of these things are pieces of information that give us the ability to more deeply understand what our system is trying to communicate with us. Because our body and our entire system is an information system, meaning that the way that it communicates is by passing information. You know, when you have an emotion, your body creates a bunch of little peptide chains that go floating through your bloodstream that let your entire system what is going on. It's passing information to communicate what to do next. And because of the world that we live in and because of the way that we navigate the world, most of us do not live in a physical way, meaning that we're not doing physical labor all day long. Many of us are sitting much of our day. We're engaging through screens. We're not doing things in a tactile way. And when that happens, it can become a really intellectual experience. And one of the things that I do when I'm not working with clients is I have a timer that is set to go off every 50 minutes. And when it goes off, I get up and I move. And there's a number of different movements that I do, but I'm putting myself back in my body because the work that I do is pretty intellectual. And when we're disconnected from our physical body in this way, it makes it really difficult for us to hear that information. It's almost like when you're in a noisy cafeteria, it's really easy to tune out the other conversations that are happening and only listening to who is in front of you. And that's really good if you're trying to listen to only who's in front of you. But if I'm only listening to what is going through my eyes and what I'm ingesting through screens, and I'm tuning out other parts of my experience, the way I would tune out people in the next table, that becomes problematic because my system has good, useful information for me. Over the course of the last month, I did this thing called the 5 a.m. Action Club, where every single morning for 4 weeks, got online Zoom early in the morning, and people tapped along with me to start the day, and some people watched videos after the fact. But one of the things we did every single day is we did a few minutes of tapping about our physical body and how our body is a healing machine and how listening to our body is more important. And a number of people reported as the month went on, by simply taking a couple of moments in the morning to tune into their system and to say, hey, what do you need today, body? They did a much better job of listening to their system all day long. And so what I want to share with you is I want to share with you 4 really simple activities that you can do, each of them taking less than a minute or 2. But if you do 1 or 2 of these activities every single day at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, what you're going to do is you are going to strengthen your somatic literacy, and you're going to be paying attention in a subconscious way to your body in a much more useful way. So that when your body is communicating stress or overwhelm or hunger or wanting to get to safety or rest or lunch, you're much more likely to listen to it. Or if you're pushing yourself too hard and your body's saying, let's take it easy, you're going to be much more likely to hear that, so that as we increase our somatic literacy in the moment, we respond to what is going on better. And not only do we recognize the body is trying to communicate, but the more we listen, the more we understand, the more closely we understand what is going on. It's kind of like when you know someone for a long period of time, you start to understand their voice inflection, the particular word choices that they use, when they pause before they say something, that they're communicating more than what the words are saying because you're used to listening to them. Our bodies are no different. If you spend a bunch of time listening to your body, you're going to start to understand the subtleties of the things that the system is saying. So here are 4 really simple, and when I say simple, I mean simple, things that you can do every single day. And again, just use 1 or 2 of these for a couple of minutes, and it'll make it easier for you to increase that somatic literacy. So number 1 is just simply scanning your body. And when I am scanning my body, I almost imagine like a lot of those scanners you see in sci-fi where it's like a light that's going crosswise, that beam that kind of goes where you see it scanning down and scanning back up. And so what I do is I do exactly that. I just imagine starting at the tippy top of my head, and as I scan, I just notice. I'm not even evaluating to see if something is good or bad. But as I scan the body, I'm just noticing, where is it loose? Where is it tight? Where is it heavy? Where is it free? Is there pain? Is there tension? Again, just paying attention. And so I just do this quick scan, and I just notice going top all the way down to the bottom and back up. And so as I do this, I notice there is some tension in my hips because I've been sitting a little while this morning, and it's about time for me to get up and move. Right side behind my kidney, it feels a little sore. And in my right shoulder, there's a little tension. So just going through that and just noticing, my body's going, ooh, he just noticed I'm communicating in the right way. That when we affirm something that we like, whoever we are affirming or whatever we are affirming will continue to do that particular thing again. And so when I recognize something in my body, I'm affirming the system's attempt to get my attention. Therefore, I'm slowly, gently giving my system permission to get my attention more. The second way to do this is to take one of those sensations and talk to it. When I say talk to it, just Ask it some questions. What's it worried about? What danger does it see? Why is it hanging around? As I tune into that little tension in my right shoulder and my right side of my neck, I hear very clearly, hey, you have to go record 4 episodes of a new podcast you're creating so the editor and the person who's uploading everything can start doing their job. They're waiting on you. So there's this tension of, I need to get this thing done because I'm a little bit behind. I better get in there and do that particular thing. So again, just having a conversation with the parts, we are tuning in more sharply and we're getting information. When we get done with this recording, I get to do a little tapping around that particular stress and anxiety, and I recognize I need to send a couple of emails to communicate. So paying attention to my body, it's like, I need to listen to this particular thing. The third thing that I like to do is I like to tune into my system. And when I say my system, I mean my body and everything else. And I use the word system because there are parts of us that feel like they are not our body, they're this other stuff, and that's okay. So I tune into the full system, and I just give the system permission to ask for what it needs. And for me, I'm just tapping in and I just say, I give my body and my system permission to ask for what it needs. And then this is the tricky part of it. I then actually have to listen. Because it's really easy to go, I give my system permission to ask for what it needs. I give my system permission to ask for what it needs. I give my system permission to ask for what it needs. Okay, great. Let's go check my inbox. Like that's not actually creating the space. I can give someone permission to do something, but if I don't create the space to allow them to do it, it's hard for them to do it. And so in this particular case, I tune in, I give the system to ask for what it needs, and then I listen. And then I'll also add, and I give my system permission to ask for what it needs later in the day as well, to take off that pressure. The last thing that we can do is just to have a conversation with the entire system. For me, I actually do something where I talk to my physical self, my intellectual self, my emotional self, and my higher self. And there is a process that I call the grounding process where I actually lead you through this entire thing. And if you go to podcast episode 375, you can hear my entire process because it's about 10 minutes long. But even if you're not doing that process, simply tuning into your body and just asking the whole body instead of a specific sensation, what do you need? What are you worried about? What are you excited about? And just have a conversation with my physical being as if it has agency of its own. It doesn't, but it's another way, it's another lens to give our subconscious mind permission to talk to us. So again, it's very simple. We don't have to do a lot of work, but if you take a couple of moments every single day, scan your body, talk to the sensations that are in your body, give your system permission to ask for what it needs, and then have an entire conversation with your physical self, your emotional self, your intellectual self, your higher self. If you do this, you're going to get some great information in the moment, create some great transformation in the moment, and you're going to strengthen that somatic literacy. So it's so much easier for you to continue to hear what the system is saying in a way that is good and useful. If you have any questions about this, about somatic literacy, about how you can tap for it, please reach out and let me know. I can always be reached, Gene, Gene, at tappingqna.com, or you can just click on that big contact link on the website up at the top. Or if you're in the Tapping Q&A app, which is absolutely free, which has over 120 hours of free audio and a bunch of tapping scripts, just click on that contact link inside of that, and you can send me an email from inside of the app. If you don't have the app, in the app store of choice, search for Tapping Q&A, both for Android and Apple devices. You will find that absolutely free. If you know someone in your life who would appreciate this conversation, or you'd like to have a conversation with them more about this, and this could kind of be like your book club as a reading start to that, pass it along. Say, hey, I was thinking of you today. I thought you might find this useful. And the really cool thing is, if you pass this along to someone else and they don't listen to it, the simple fact you've sent them an email saying, hey, I was thinking of you today, I thought you might like this, you're going to make their day a little brighter and a little easier for them to navigate all of this. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the podcast. In podcasting parlance, subscribe is always free. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon, Audible, basically everywhere you find audio online. All you need to do is search for Tapping Q&A, click follow, click subscribe, turn on the notifications so that every single time a new episode comes out, you hear it and you will know about it right away. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrestelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.
The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrestelli Tapping Q&A. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrestelli and Tapping Q&A.